Yes, YouTube, welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be comparing the 4-4-1-1 custom tactics versus my 4-2-3-1 narrow custom tactics. Before we get into the video, make sure you smash a like, thumbs up, guys. If you haven't already, follow on my Twitch. We just hit 70k on Twitch. We just hit like 215k on TikTok, and we just hit 20k on Instagram. So please, thank you very much, guys, for all the support. Make sure you follow my socials. I'm going to post like a new video of my apartment tomorrow on my other YouTube, MBYTES. I'll obviously promote that everywhere. Make sure you check it out, guys. So follow the channel MBYTES. We're so close to 500 followers. Subscribers on that channel, okay? But back to this video. Today I'm going to talk about my 4-2-3-1 narrow versus the 4-4-1-1 custom tactics I've been using this week. I've been alternating. On both accounts, I got rank 1 actually. Funny enough, last week I got rank 1 with both formations. And I'm going to give you the pros and cons. I'll show you some gameplay in between. So yes, let's get straight into it. For cheap and reliable coins, head over to MBYTEXP.com. Use code BYTE for 8% off for cheap and reliable fast service coins. So guys, this is my 4-2-3-1 narrow custom tactics, or at least the team I use. Let me show you the breakdown, okay? So yes, guys, these are my custom tactics I've been using. So I use 4-2-3-1 narrow, balanced and aggressive, okay? So quickly, any formation that you use with CDMs, whether it be the 4-2-3-1 narrow, the 4-2-3-1 wide, 4-2-1-3, or the 4-2-2-2, I'd recommend heavily to use the 95 depth, okay? Because for some reason, I feel like 95 depth works so well with CDMs. Maybe it's not the same with center mids, because yeah, it's not the same with center mids, but with CDMs, yeah, you need to use 95 if you want to get the most out of the formation, okay? Like all formations, you're going to use like these four. I don't think you should change it. Fullback, defend, defender, defender, defend. I know last week on my other account where I got rank 1 with the full immortals team using the 4-4-1-1, I think I had, what's his face, Beckenbauer on ball playing defender plus because he didn't have defender role. But to be honest, like for center backs, they're all the same, okay? I know people like to use sweeper keeper. I don't really like sweeper keeper. I feel like they come out too much, bro. Like it's kind of weird. I rather just use triangle to bring out my keeper. And let me tell you something, guys, okay? If you really want to get better at FC25, FC26, you need to become more of a manual player. Yes, I know there's an element of you have to allow AI to do stuff for you to become really good at the game. But if you really want to get to that next level, you need to learn to do stuff manually. So what I mean by that is, when you can, try and bring out your keeper yourself. Don't rely on AI. If you're trying to attack, make sure you use L1, R1 to send people on runs. So for example, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Well, for example, both CDMs, I use either role, okay? Deep line playmaker or holding. Just depends on the role. I know some people like to use double deep line playmaker. Holding doesn't have it. I like using holding on holding. Sometimes he's a little bit too deep because he's on holding, so sometimes I have to use L1 to send him on the run so I can get him closer. But yeah, you can use up to you. Honestly, it really makes no difference. You can use double deep line. I wouldn't recommend double holding. I wouldn't do that myself. Now I know a lot of people like to use double deep line build up. I don't use that. I don't really use that. Again, I feel like they go too far forward. I prefer to do it myself manually, okay? Now this is where I'm talking about the manual stuff, okay? So for example, all my camps on Shadow Striker, okay? I know some people say you can use your middle one on Playmaker, which is still good, but with Shadow Striker, I feel like they're closer to your striker, so in the box, you always have an extra option. With Playmaker, you don't have the same option, okay? And maybe when you use Playmaker, you need to use your CDMs in more of a like deep line build up, but I prefer to have triple Shadow Striker. That's just me. I like when they push up, and if I need them to drop deep, I press R1. R1 means you can call an attacker back, or you can player lock if you want. That's what I'm talking about, the manual stuff. I feel like manual stuff will take you to another level. So yes, I use Shadow Striker across the 3, and I use obviously my striker as thing. Now, what are the pros and cons of this formation versus the 4-4-1-1? Well, as good as the attacking is in this formation, I still think the 4-4-1-1 is slightly better in attack because you are playing on 4-4-1-1. I'll break it down later in that formation, but you can still attack very greatly in this formation. And because you're using 3 cams, they're very narrow and wide at the same time. But when they need to be narrow, they're narrow, and when they need to be wide, they're wide. When it comes to attacking, like there's no real faults. I think the only fault with attacking with this formation is the CDMs, in the sense like they're not as close to the goal as you want, but then you don't get countered. So it's like a pro and con at the same time. It's very hard to counter these 4-2, like any 2 CDM formation. It's very hard because you always have one holding because it's CDM. So like that's why most people use 95 depth, because everybody's in the opposition half. So even if they do counter you technically, that means they have to play a first time against your center back. So the only way you can really get countered against this formation is if you play somebody really, really good, like somebody on my level, or somebody that's better than me. But altogether, like, there's not really much pros and cons when it comes to these like CDM formations, truthfully. I would say though, the fourth in this formation is really good for the build-up because you have 3 cams. So because they're a little bit narrow, you're not struggling for passing options. Whereas with like the 4-2-1-3, sometimes the wingers can be a little bit too wide. That can be a bit of an issue. Another issue I would say with this formation is the personnel you can use. I feel like to get the most out of this formation, you need like specific players. So what I mean by that is your middle cam must have incisive pass, base, and tiki-taka. I use Neymar on my other account. Neymar is an exception, but more often than not, you need a cam with at least incisive and tiki-taka to get the most out of this formation. And then, in my personal opinion, you need finesse shots in a cam. You just need it, okay? Any formation you're using a centralized cam, you need finesse shots. I cannot tell you how much it's important. In fact, I'm not saying I can play the game without it, but I think like, in fact, I think you need 3 things max, and then finesse shots like have 50%. Your middle cam must have incisive tiki-taka, at least on base. After that, I don't really care if it's plus or not. I would even argue that you need 5-star weak for a cam in the middle cam position, because you're gonna get so many passing angles like left or right because they're in the middle that they need to be able to pass it all sides. At this stage of the game now, most cams and with evils now you can use, they'll have 5-star weak foot. So for example, let me show you guys deeper. I have 5 million coins on this team, okay, on this account. Look, I literally like I have a couple tradable players. I literally could have like 6 million, okay, and this guy cost me 70k. And look at the stats. And look at the like finesse shot, goals, incisive, and tiki-taka with what's it called, 5-5. I'm truthfully not gonna lie to you, this is one of the best cams in the game for like the price. So even though the personnel can be a bit of a struggle, like there's a lot of decent evils you can do to get the most out of it, like no troll. Like then obviously you have Mia Hamm. I would recommend make sure you have a right-footed attack on the right, a left-footed attack on the left for Travellas. I don't really score Travellas like that these days, but why I like to have a right foot on the right and a left foot on the left is for shooting angles. So when you go see my gameplay, I score a lot of shots across goal. So I feel like it's better with a stronger foot. Yes, I know, funny enough, all 3 of these guys have 5-star weak foot, and yes, they can still score on the left foot across goal, but I just prefer having my righters on the right, my lefties. In fact, I even say this as well. I said this last year in FC25. I really heavily believe that the way this game is coded, that they run faster on the stronger side. I don't like, you can't tell me otherwise. So for example, Mia Hamm is right-footed. She's on the right side. She runs faster on that side. Then if I was to put Mia Hamm on the left, I don't think she runs as fast because it's the foot bias, and so when somebody tries to tackle her, she can't protect the ball as well or pace abuse. That's just my own personal opinion. I could be very wrong, but I've played this game too much to know that, okay? And it's even, funny enough, Mia Hamm and I have the unique body type, so they can't even get away with it. But guys like Rutter who don't have unique body types, they can't really do it like that. If I put Rutter on the right, then you have to be really skillful and dribbling to get the most out of him. But I don't think that works. That's just my own personal opinion, guys. But yeah, do I have any cons? No, like there's not much cons. Like in terms of defending this formation, you don't struggle, and because you're using cams, not left mid and right mid, these guys even drop back at times to help defending. It's just the way the game is coded, bro. So like for example, see the way this is without ball. I can't even show you what it looks like with ball, but like without ball, I feel at times like you see Rutter will be covering the space like here in like the small gap, and so the same with Mia Hamm. So again, guys, that's just my own personal opinion. I do think this formation and the 4-2-1-3 are better for like less skilled players. So if you're not like an insane guy or you struggle to defend, just use this formation, guys, please. You have a better time. So this is the code on screen. Pause it, and then yeah. So I would heavily recommend this formation if you're like slightly, maybe a division 2, division 3, division 1. Use one like a 2 CDM, something like this. You will really succeed. Maybe you should change the shadow striker and use that to playmaker if you're struggling with build up. But guys, trust me, this is a really good formation. Musiala. Let's go, Ray. Let's go. Let's go. Guy, chill, bro. Let's go. What? Let's go. So yes, guys, I'll show you the custom tactics now for 4-4-1-1 and what I use to get rank 1, okay? So it's something really similar to like all my previous videos. It's just like the 4-4-1-1. I feel like everybody knows that this is probably my best formation in the game. For me, MBYTES. Yes, I've been using the 4-2-3-1 now recently and I've enjoyed it. But every time I use the 4-4-1-1, I just remember why I like this formation. Okay, I'll show you why I use in this formation, guys. So quickly, both fullbacks on defense. Again, the defenders is the same every formation, okay? When it comes to the midfielders, and I've said this before and I'll say this again, I think the way this game is coded, you should use the same roles on both center mids. I've said this time and time again. So what I mean by that is, if you want to use deep line playmaker on one, then use deep line playmaker on the other one. If you want to use box to box on one, use box to box on both. Okay, guys. The way this game works is I feel for some reason the balance and the way this game is coded, it works like they work like this hand to hand. Whereas when you have one on like deep line playmaker and playmaker, I feel like the playmaker goes on and then the deep line playmaker is going all over the pitch. I don't know. I just don't think it works properly, bro. Ever since I was using box to box, that's when I was getting the crazy back to back rank ones on this account. So. But this now, I would say this formation is not for everybody, and I'll tell you why in a sec. But with this formation, you get so many attacking options. You literally have your 3 attackers here, your striker and your cam, and then you have these 2 guys like that are going to cover the spaces. So they're more active in attack than the CDM. But then now that I say that, because they're more active in the attack than your CDMs in the 4-2-3-1, then you're going to be exposed to counter attacks. But that's why I recommend to use 70 depth, because the counter attacks is not bad as the other one. You know, so you see what, like they both counter each other. The other one you're using 95, but you have CDMs. This one you're using 70, but you have center mids. So to me, they're relatively the same. I just feel like you have more passing angles in this formation than you do in the 4-2-3-1. And I know that's going to sound mad because in the 4-2-3-1 you have 3 cams. But with this one, because they're not a winger or a cam, they're right in that little gap where they can do some passes. It's easier to do a first time into your cam than another first time into your striker than it is in the other formations because they're too close. So I feel like by the time, for example, Miyaham in this position in the cam formation, when she passes the ball to Musiala, it's too close. So by the time Musiala gets the ball, there's not enough time for Musiala to have sent a first time to Ronaldo. I know this might sound like really complicated, but I'm just trying to say is that because this is the perfect amount of gaps between them, by the time Musiala receives the ball, Ronaldo can make a good run, if that makes any kind of sense. That's what I'm trying to say. But yeah, guys, like this is the formation I use. One thing I can recommend, I do think it's a little bit more flexible to use playmaker in this formation. It works really well. Playmaker works really well in this formation as well. And double box to box. Again, this is my baby. Like this is my formation. I do think this is like the best formation in the game when everything is done properly. But guys, the world is your oyster. You can use whatever suits you. I'm just giving you 2 formations. I'm just giving you your pros and cons to these formations. There's a couple things as well I need to teach you guys soon. How to score corners. Everybody knows I like a cheeky corner. Everybody knows I like a cheeky corner. Wow. Right time. Camera? Camera? How did I know he was gonna make us keeper? Can somebody clip that, please? Oh, let's go.
Bombardillo crocodillo.
Oh, let's go. Right. Nah.
Ah, Whaley just got absolutely robbed.
He went 20 at all, bro. Oh! But yes, guys, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the gameplay from my 441 formations. 441 was the true one. It will be in this video as well, so you can see some glimpses of what I did. Get back to back rank 1. And yeah, guys, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the rest of your day. Make sure you tune into the Twitch. I will be live today from 8 o'clock, okay? 8 or 9, like depends on what I'm doing. But yeah, I love you guys. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.